are people surprised that you're like into super geeky things like that? Or
yes.
That maybe you might not have been aware of your content earlier?
Oh, yes, definitely. I actually get, I feel like most nerdy women, whether they are bimbos or not, also can agree with me on this, that we often get explained whatever we're interested in. Like if we say like, "Ooh, I love X-Men," for example, because I do. Yeah. I will say like, "Ooh, I love X-Men," or something like that. And then people will go, "Okay, you need to read issue number blah, blah, blah." And it's like, well, honey, babe, hold on now. I don't need an education.
Yeah.
I'm saying I love it. I know all these things. It's one thing if they're saying, "Hey, I'm interested in X-Men. Anyone have any recommendations?" Totally different thing.
Yeah.
But I often get people who follow me who are like trying to educate me, and I know it comes from a good place. I know they want to share the joy, and I totally love that. But sometimes, after years of getting the same comments,
I know the story.
I know. I got it. Yeah. I know. I'm real. I'm here. I've been seeing this. Yeah. I have my comics from the 90s in my closet right now. We're on the same page, babe. You don't have to explain.
All right.
And so that gets a little annoying, but I also feel like that's just most women online, who are into nerdy stuff. It's like comes with the territory. Again, I don't think most of them are malicious. Most of them.
Yeah, no. They want to be helpful or they want to be encouraging because they they love to embrace. But again, it's this idea that, oh, well, did you realize that, in this artwork and this writer and this saga of everything. So so then I want to get, what did you think? Because the most recent X-Men film, I don't know if you consider Deadpool and Wolverine an X-Men film or if it's an X-Men adjacent film. Like, where would you rate that?
It's the closest thing we're getting right now. So let's just say, sure, okay. X-Men.
So what were your impressions of that film?
I had a really fun time. I loved it. So here I am. I'm very particular about my X-Men babies. They are something that is so near and dear to baby Stephanie growing up, feeling very isolated, feeling very alone. I had these comics and they really helped me through, a very isolated time in my life as a young teen. And I felt really embraced by these comic book characters. So for me, I have a very harsh your level. Not expectations, but you have, it seems like your standards are very high. Very high. So I am so annoying when it comes to the X-Men. So most people would be like, it doesn't bother me. I wish I could be you. I so wish I could not take things as seriously as I do.
But you care so much about them.
Yes, I do. And I can't turn that off. So whatever. But yeah, there's certain casting choices that I personally would never make because I'm just feel so connected to these characters that I'd be like, that's actually not right, actually.
What?
And
and I'm gonna open up this box, the Channing Tatum Gambit, which I know you are. From what I understand, it's a very.
Oh my god.
Started. It seems like there's kind of a battle in terms of you appreciate the fact that Channing Tatum loves the character so much and he wanted to do the character justice.
What a joy. Oh my gosh, if any cosplayer, I will say this, if any cosplayer was suddenly approached being like, "Hey, do you want to live out your dream to be your favorite character that you cosplay on the screen? Do you want to just go do that?"
In a massive movie,
Oh my God, what a lifetime joy. And I'm so happy for him as a person because I do know that he has such passion for Gambit and it's been a long...
And he's been trying to get that going for such a long time.
So for me, as a human being, very cool. Yeah. So happy.
So happy to see that. Yeah.
Amazing. I wish I loved when Childish Gambino was trying to be Miles Morales when they were thinking about rebooting the Spider-Man thing. I was like, oh my God, he's so passionate about that. I hope he gets it, And so whenever I see actors that are really ooh, I'm really into this nerd character, I do wish that for them.
Yeah.
Because, hey, aren't we all just trying to live out our childhood fantasies and play dress up? That seems so fun.
Yeah.
So I'm really happy for him on a personal level. But
there's a big but.
Huge butt. Huge BBL butt. Hashtag not my Gambit. I need, and I was talking to my other friend Vivka, who's also very a Vivid Vivka, shout out. We're also in the very same serious, very stupid high standards for X-Men.
Yeah.
We were both he needs to be sewer rat. sewer rat energy. I need a man that like is very spindly. He needs to be emaciated a little bit, maybe a little bit unhealthy looking. He needs to be, feels like he smokes a pack a day since he was 12. He's grizzled, but also handsome. And like, it just like, I was not getting this very like, little sewer rat energy, which, listen, Gambit, I love him. And if you think sewer rat energy is a bad thing, it's not. It just means like there's a certain kind of grime level to hotness level that I require in my Gambit interpretations. And it also comes with almost like an athletic, like gymnast body, because that is part of his powers is athleticism. And it's like, Channing Tatum, gorgeous man. He's also very bulky.
He's a big guy.
He's a big boy.
Yeah.
I'm not here to body shame. I'm just saying that for me, in my interpretation of the character, I'm not getting that from him. And also, if he loves the character so much, why couldn't he just do the black and red eyes? I'm freaking out. I'm screaming.
That seemed like that was
such an easy thing to do with even CGI.
You could just put that in there where it glows. So, you know, it's funny. The description that you had remind me of when you describe, I think of like a young Iggy Pop. Like,
love that.
Because he was always very, he was very, you know, very cut, very skinny,
similar
definitely had
energy.
That,
you know, like very, that David Bowie, I'm thinking, you know, those kinds of like, you know, that kind of stuff. There's also, do you know The Boys?
I know the show. I haven't seen it. But.
Okay, so Frenchie, for all you viewers out here, I'm also thinking Frenchie vibes. For anyone who's seen The Acolyte, I forget the bad guy name in it, but the guy basically from The Good Place. He's basically a himbo, actually.
Okay.
He also kind of beefed up slightly for his role in The Acolyte, and I was like, "You're giving Gambit energy." Yeah. There's just certain characters where I'm like, "Oh." Yes, correct.
Okay.
But also, I think if we want the truest adaptation of the X-Men, I just make it animated.
Yeah.
You know?
It's easier.
It's just, like, we're talking about these huge fantastical powers and things like that, and I have such more of an easier suspension of disbelief when it comes to animation.
Yeah.
You know?
I think most people do.
Yeah, and so I'm just like, hey, no shade to any of the actors, but I also think sometimes, you know, we all kind of get a little CGI'd out by all like the superhero movies, and it's just, it feels more natural to see it in animated form.
Yeah. Well, and that's why I think the original show from the 90s, the X-Men show, was such a popular and such an iconic show.
Oh my God. Changed my life.
Next to maybe the Batman animated series,
Changed
probably
my life.
the two.
Changed my life. Both of them.
Two of the biggest shows of the 90s.
Yes.
So that... And and also, what did you think of Taylor Kitsch as Gambit in X-Men or in the first Wolverine movie?
I actually haven't seen it.
Really?
Well,
interesting.
Here's the thing: after the first X-Men movie came out, I was so excited. You know, I was little baby Stephanie in the theaters, like, let's go! My X-Men is on the screen. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. After the movies, I was like, my heart is destroyed and broken on the floor. I will never see one of these films again. And I swore it off for years.
Okay.
And then obviously when I heard that X-Men Origins Wolverine was horrible, I was like, well, I don't want to. Yeah, like, why bother? I've obviously seen like stills of him, you know, and I do now as an adult, I am going back and watching all of the X-Men films just because I'm like, I just want to see all the interpretations. And now that I've kind of put down my nerd barriers of rage, I can embrace them all. Yeah. So I do want to see it just to see it.
Just to see it, yeah.
You know? And also that's the original Ryan Reynolds Deadpool. So I also want to see
that was the very first.
The crazy bad one with the no mouth and weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I do want to see that just to see like what were they thinking.
Yeah.
And I'd love to see, and I also kind of feel bad for him that he was not invited for this movie.
Yeah, they kind of looked him over, and it was just kind of like, yeah, we're not gonna mention that.
Yeah, and I mean, like, I know that it was seen as like very poorly done, and I'm not trying to say like I want a poorly done interpretation of one of my favorite characters to be on screen again, but also like Elektra got her moment, you know? Yeah. And like these other things like Blade, I loved the Blade movies. I think they're fun and cheesy and cool.
Yeah.
I love that he was brought back, Wesley Snipes, like, oh, look, amazing.
Yeah. And Chris Evans as the Human Torch.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
In that little
truly, yeah. And so like they all kind of got their little we're coming back, period moment on their character. And I felt bad that like the original Gambit didn't get that, yeah. You know, but I'm also like, so I'm a little bit conflicted about that, you know?